So we're working with a new theme, and our theme is this month is opening the heart space. It's one of my favorite themes in general, but also especially for those of us who've gone through a breast cancer journey, because the heart space is our vulnerable space in so many ways in general. But if you've been through a breast cancer journey, your heart space is even more vulnerable, right? Directly physically vulnerable because of surgeries and radiation and just holding the breath or holding ourselves sort of in a vulnerable position, shrinking forward instead of opening up. The changes that may have happened in this space just physically in our body are tremendous. And so when we work with the heart space during this month, we work with it from a variety of perspectives, right? Just purely physically, all of this space is so tight, right? Physically tight. Our pecs are tight. We have possibly fibrosis. We may have radiation burns. There are all kinds of things that make us physically tight. Vitally, from our energetic perspective, there may be challenge because our breath may be affected, both directly, sort of anatomically or physiologically, but also psychologically, where we kind of guard a little bit. Emotionally, this space is affected, right? Where we kind of hold ourselves in a more protective, guarded stance. There may be a change in our self-image, our body image, our general self-image, right? And all of that shows up in how we relate to that part of ourselves, right? And so in this month, this can be a vulnerable time of doing the yoga in this way. And so I just want you to know, it's always up to you how you work here, but if something hurts, and I don't mean just physically, don't do it. Stop. Take care of yourself. That's first and foremost, right? So if something just doesn't feel right, you don't force yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. Be light and gentle. Be self-nurturing. Be receptive to trying things out, and at the same time, be protective when you need to be. So the focus will be a lot physically. The focus will be a lot on opening the front body, right, and strengthening the back body. One way that we can open our heart is by becoming strong in the back. And I mean that literally, physically, but I also mean that symbolically. For us to be able to be open to the world again on an emotional level, we need to feel like we have backbone, right? We need to feel the strength inside of us. So it's about cultivating strength at the same time that we cultivate openness. So physically, that's where we will work. And then with the breath, we will work, as always, really on sort of allowing the breath to open the lower part of the rib basket, to breathe into the waistline, to breathe into the front body, but also to let the breath travel into the back body. So to kind of breathe with our full circumference around that region of our beautiful breathing muscle called the diaphragm, right? And then mentally or psychologically or from a heart space, we're going to work with compassion, with loving kindness, with joy, with peacefulness. We will bring all of those topics to bear so that we can release fear. We can release anticipatory anxiety about scans that are coming up or test results that we're waiting for, all of those things, recurrences, all this kind of stuff that goes through our head. But we will also really release anger, possibly, right? And kind of move into our vulnerability to reconnect to ourselves. So it's a big month. I think it's a wonderful topic for us to explore together, and I'm always mindful that it is a difficult month because it is a month where we are very directly pulling in all of those layers of experience that we have as humans and that we always call forth in our opening centering. And so that's where we'll start, as always, is with our opening centering. And so I invite you to find your spot for that, either seated on a chair or on the floor, or lying down on the earth, supporting yourself even here, right, in this opening centering already, so that you feel physically comfortable, energetically supported, and in your heart space, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, as safe as is possible given your current circumstances. And so yeah, most of you know exactly how you like to sit or lie down, and so I'll let you settle yourselves in. Do remember to use lots of props, and I see on the screen that many of you are doing that. That's really wonderful. And as your body begins to settle into stillness, perhaps make a discerning and conscious choice about how you would like to place your eyelids. Would you like to close your eyes? Or would you like to keep them maybe at half mast with a soft gaze somewhere ahead of you? Perhaps you simply have them open in a comfortable way. Not with a laser-like gaze, but just comfortable. Knowing that you can always change your mind if the choice you made in this moment no longer suits at some point. And then make a discerning choice, conscious decision about how you would like to place your hands, palms down or up. And invite yourself to arrive in this moment, to arrive in this space, to arrive in this community. I invite you to tune into your physical being, to receive whatever sensation or experience is present within you in this moment. You don't have to go out searching for anything. You can simply scan through your body in a gentle and compassionate way, patiently noticing what meets your attention. Some of the sensations may be pleasant. Some may be a bit more challenging. Some might be confusing. You don't have to label them. Simply receive them. Becoming receptive is one of our important first steps when we work with yoga. Receiving these inner signals that are really always present, but so often tuned out. So meet your body patiently, compassionately. And then keep holding your body in the background of your awareness. Begin to turn your attention more deliberately to your breath, your energy, your vitality. Again, simply being receptive to what already is unfolding within you, within your breath. There's no need to create anything or change anything. You're simply compassionately meeting your inhalations, your exhalations, and perhaps the pauses, if they exist for you in this moment, between the inhale and the exhale, and between the exhale and the inhale. For some of you, those pauses may be very, very brief, barely discernible. For some of you, those pauses may be quite lengthy. You're simply noticing with compassion how the breath is moving through you. Meeting your breath, meeting your body with an open heart. Holding them in your spacious awareness with an open heart as you then gently shift your attention to what you're bringing with you in your mind today. Maybe any thoughts or stories or narratives or queries or worries. Again, not looking for things, just meeting what is already there, receiving the inputs from your mind. Sometimes they can be quite dominating, sometimes they can be really, really subtle. Sometimes those stories are quite entertaining and they may trap our attention. Sometimes the stories may be a bit more on the unpleasant side. Can you simply be with what is without getting caught up in the stories, in the feelings, but inviting them in with an open heart. Letting them be as they are. Maybe even having a sense of compassion for how these stories are coming about, how these feelings are coming about. And perhaps noticing how they come and go, just like your breath comes and goes. So do these stories. And then holding body, vitality, and mind in your spacious awareness. Shift your attention to that part of you that always has an open heart. Your wise, intuitive, deeply intelligent self that is always compassionate, always attentive, always loving, peaceful, joyful. That part of us that is wise, intelligent, connected to the greater web of life, always aware of what's happening inside of us and around us, recognizing our connection into communities, relationships, our dependence on others. It is through this connection, through this interdependence that we have with other people, with other beings, with our planet, that we can receive a sense of joy. The joy of knowing that we're part of a greater whole. That there's a greater meaning that moves beyond us as an individual, that links us to everything. And maybe that joy is palpable for you right now. Maybe it's somewhere off, buried deep inside of you. Just know that it's there, always as a seed, as that fifth layer of our human experience. And from having briefly touched into all of these layers of experience, I invite you, if it suits you in this moment, to perhaps place your hands on top of each other at your heart. Perhaps you bow your head to your heart without closing your heart off. In fact, perhaps with already a wide open and receptive heart. Maybe not physically, but heartfelt. As you receive, as you open yourself to receive an intention that may be somewhere deep inside of you for your time on the mat today. So an intention is not like a New Year's resolution. It's not a goal. It's not the desire for a particular outcome. It's simply an intention of a quality that you want to bring on the mat today. It could be a simple word like peace, or it could be a phrase like finding joy. It could be a felt sense that has no words. Or it could be an empty space where an intention may arise later. whatever you received. Perhaps use your next inhalation to draw it into your wide open heart. And then perhaps if it suits you with your next exhalation, you can send it silently outward into that greater web of life that connects us all. And then whenever you feel ready, you can release your hands if they were lifted. You can rise to a seat if you're lying down. You can open your eyes if they were closed. And you can lift your gaze if it was lowered. And as some of you are still sort of rearranging themselves, those of you who are ready, just begin with a few little shoulder circles toward the front and then the back. So opening the heart here. And for those of you who are around for the lymphatic series, now you know that this is doing double duty. You could even place your hands at your clavicles and you'd feel, oh yeah, right from the beginning when we do these funny circles, we move this region around the clavicles to clear a path for the lymph to come, guess where? To our heart, to our wide open heart, right? Yeah. So you could also make a few shoulder shrugs. You can be nice and gentle with this. By now you have so many beautiful ideas of how to open this region above the heart. And so today we'll add a little bit more movement right away to bring a little bit of breath and movement together. So we'll inhale as the arms lift up. And then if you had a natural pause in the breath, you could pause the movement. And when the exhale starts, you can let the arms travel down. So we will likely not be synchronized on the screen because we will all have different breath lengths. If there's pause at the bottom of the breath, the movement can pause at the bottom too. So flow with your own breath. You might even close your eyes to become receptive from the inside out. And so that you're not distracted by what you might see on the screen. You're not tempted to try to synchronize with other people's arms and breath, but you're synchronizing from inside out. And as you move your arms up and down here, notice if you are kind to yourself by using your range of motion. If the arms can't travel all the way up, that's perfectly fine. There's nothing magical about that. If they come to shoulder height, that's great. If they come up just a couple of inches, that's great. If they reach all the way up, that's great. Everything you do is kind and compassionate for your body. Now, if you would like, so that a little more lymph might move, on the exhalation, so when the arms travel down, you could make the sound of a bumblebee. And you'll feel that as a little bit of a contraction in your abdomen, so a little extra lymphatic action there. It's also a breath that tends to lengthen the exhalation because that's when we make the sound of M. And through that sound, through that vibration, through the lengthening of the exhale, you are also settling your nervous system, and your symbolic heart space can open up better. You start to feel safer and more settled, and your heart can open up emotionally and relationally. Finish the round of breath you're on, and then take one more cycle, either with or without sound, yogi's choice. And then simply come to a seat and listen inward. And notice if the simple act of breathing so deliberately, perhaps with sound, shifted anything in your body, your breath, your mind. Again, becoming receptive, becoming open. You can stay here, or if you'd like, you can bring your hands into your little chicken wings and make a few chicken wing circles to the back. And now, of course, you're moving lymphatic fluid yet again, but now, today, this month, you might also begin to notice how this opens your heart space. When you roll those arms to the back, you are opening up in the front of the body, and you're using the strength of the back body to do so. So even our little chicken wings that already do so much for us in terms of our lymphatic flow, they also help us open physically, vitally, and emotionally or psychologically. We open our heart. We become ready to release our own suffering and maybe the suffering of others. Couple more times. And when your arms have traveled back, you can gently release the hands into your lap. And then take your eyes and look up to the left and let the left ear follow for a little side stretch in the neck. Take a couple rounds of breath here. If you would like, you could even use one hand and give yourself a little bit of a lymphatic massage here through the side of the neck. But you don't have to. Our focus today is on keeping the heart wide open as the neck releases to the side. Tension in the neck is very much related to tension in the heart space, and so as you open the side of the neck here, also be aware of whether you can keep the shoulders rolled back and the chin tucked back. With your next inhalation, bring your head very gently back to center. Maybe you'll take a whole round of breath here, or maybe you just use your next exhalation to look up to the right, to bring the right ear where your eyes are focused, or toward where your eyes are focused, as the left ear releases to the side, down toward the shoulders. And maybe now you take a hand and massage, again, the stretched side of the neck. And in honor of our heart opening focus, this time it might be better to use the hand on the same side as where the stretch is, so that your heart can stay open. And you don't have to overdo this, like don't hurt yourself here with the heart opening, right? Be receptive and follow your inner sensations in your body, your breath, and maybe less so your mind. And then wait for an inhalation to gently draw the head back to center. Maybe for a moment, just release the head side to side very gently, not with any goal of reaching a particular range of motion here, but just countering that stretch in the side of the neck a little bit, because we're going to do that again, but this time adding a bit of strength to it. And so that little side to side movement can be a nice little release in between. And then do your little chin tuck and drawing the head back, that hopefully by now most of you can remember. So it's just a gentle tuck down, and then drawing the ears toward the back plane of the body to make sure the head is sort of in a good position. And then we'll take the same side bend again. So we'll start with looking up and dropping and reaching up. Am I going the wrong way? I'm going the wrong way. Looking up to the left and looking and bringing the left ear up and the right ear toward the shoulders. Got myself all confused here. And then take, since if your head is going to the right, take your right hand, bring it up and over and gently rest it on the left side of your head. Take your left hand, bring it out in front of you. The thumb points up. Then you turn the thumb down and bring it around and wrap it to the back of your waist and press your waist into your arm into your waist, and then press the head into your hand and the hand into your head. Very, very gentle. On the outside, it looks like you're doing nothing. On the inside, there's a lot of isometric strength building here. So the right hand is on the left side of the head, which is turned down toward the right shoulder. And there's no movement on the outside, but that right hand is gently pressing down at the same time that the head is pressing up against it. So the head is pressing actually toward the ceiling in a way. And then the arm and the back waist are pressing into each other. Do you feel the power that you're building here? You might even start shaking a little bit. And then gently, gently begin to release the tension between the head and the hand and between the arm and the waist. On the outside, nothing will change, but you'll feel the relief from that. And then slide the right hand to the
Fortunately, we only have
right
two
side
we have to do
of
this
your
one,
head,
so
and use
let's
the
just
right
go
hand
straight
to
to
bring
the
your
other
head to
side.
an upright position.
So we'll look up to the right ear
then
will drop to
release.
the ceiling, the
And
left
shake
ear
it
will
out.
drop toward the left shoulder. We'll start with just, well, wait, we have to start with our chin tuck, of course, right? I should always remind us to do that, right? And not just assume that we're all just naturally still doing it. Okay, and then you take the left hand, you swing it up and over, and it comes to rest on the right side of the head. No pressure yet. Bring the right arm forward, thumb points up, and then you turn the thumb down and swing the arm around against the back waist. And begin with the pressure between the arm and the back waist. So really engage your core. You'll feel that very strong engagement. And then build the pressure between the hand and the head. And only as much pressure as serves you. So don't overdo, but also don't underdo, right? Be compassionate, but stay receptive. Stay receptive to the feedback you're getting from your body, your breath, and your mind. If you ever feel that your breath is dysregulating when we do something like that, ease off. We don't want to get your breath all choppy. And then when you feel ready to do so, gently begin to release the tension between the arm and the waist. Nothing will change on the outside, but you'll feel a relief on the inside, and the tension between the hand and the head. And then patiently slide the left hand to the left side of the head and use the hand to press the head up. And bring the arm forward, and then notice, do you want to shake, wiggle, arm circle, or do you want to sit quietly? We're all different. We all come from a different nervous system platform, and we may have different needs after a hold like that. That can be very intense. I don't know where you're seated, but I need to change my seat. Been too long in one position. All right, from here, we're going to have some fun. And of course, I once again forgot to talk about props at the beginning. So if you have them, grab a couple of yoga blocks. If you don't have yoga blocks, grab a couple of books, light books though, like a thin paperback. Light yoga blocks, not bamboo blocks or wooden blocks or even the cork blocks, but a foam block, because they may fall off, and I don't want you to get hurt if they fall on your own legs. I don't want your floor to get hurt. And just start by having your arms by your side, so they're in your waistline essentially, and the hands are facing forward. You can sort of see by where my blocks are located. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. And then as you breathe in, the arms stay tucked into the side body, but the hands will swing open, and you'll feel a lot of work in the back body. And as you breathe out, you bring the blocks together. And if you can maintain a 4-part breath, there may be a bit of a pause, right? There may be a pause at the end of the inhale here, which may mean some isometric engagement in the back body. And there may be a pause at the exhalation, where there's just a release, a letting go, physically, energetically, maybe even psychologically. Just flow a few more times, becoming perhaps ever more receptive to what is happening in your physical layer here. Because as you are opening your arms here in this way, there is a lot of work that's happening in the back body, but you might notice there's also work in the core. And there's a big opening in your heart space. This looks like a very simple exercise, but it has profound effects. Physically, but also energetically. You can make this even more calming with a longer exhalation, so a slower opening. And then a closing. Yeah, I said that backwards, but whatever, you get it. And then the last time we're going to hold in the open position. Can you breathe here? Can you breathe through this holding, through this tension, this engagement, I should say, in the belly and the back body? You can always close a little bit. You can, of course, always close completely if this is too much. But part of having an open heart is also being able to sit with challenge and to keep the heart open nevertheless. And then with an exhalation, nice and slow, let the hands come toward each other. And perhaps set the blocks down for a moment. And just listen inward. Listen to the reverberations of this movement. Feeling the subtlety of it and the profoundness of it. You can stay here, or you can pick your blocks back up. Put them on your palms yet again, and this time bring your arms into kind of a W shape. And we're going to make circles. The blocks are sitting on your palms, and they're keeping you honest. This was true for the scap squeezes too, so that your arms, your hands, your palms stay supinated. They stay facing upward as you're making these circles. This helps keep your shoulder joints somewhat externally rotated, and that helps keep your heart space open. And if you cheat and you collapse forward, your blocks will likely fall off your hands, and that's not really cheating. But the blocks are just a great little prop to keep everything open.
And then we're going to take a few circles in the opposite direction. And so you're still opening the heart space, but from a slightly different place. And then we'll go backwards again. And then bring your arms out in front of you and let the blocks touch each other, or the little fingers touch each other if you don't have blocks. And hold them there, dropping the shoulders down. So relaxing and releasing the shoulder girdle down. And this time we're going to swing the whole arm open. Inhaling your heart open. Exhaling nice and slow. Letting the breath settle, letting yourself recover. And then opening back up. This is a lot harder than it looks. Especially if over time, maybe instead of blocks on your palms, you have a light weight. Last time, so finish the round you're on and then take one more. And when you're done, you can bring your blocks together, yep, and release them down. And if you have it, grab a strap or a TheraBand, a stretchy band. If you have a stretchy band, that might be nicer. It'll feel a little bit better than a strap, but either will work. A scarf will work, a tie will work. And nothing at all will work too. So if you don't want to use a strap or a band, that's fine too. I'm going to be on my knees. You could stay seated in your chair if you would like, or you could stand up. So yogi's choice. We're going to start by having our hands in front of us and the band is in front of us. So like that. And the nice thing about the TheraBand is that it's flexible. You don't have to move your hands, but if you're working with a strap, you'll notice that you'll have to slide your hands out on the strap as we reach up. With a band, you can stretch the band up and over, and if it feels okay, you can bring it down the back. If you're using a strap, you definitely have to widen the hands on the strap. You don't want to hurt yourself. You want to keep the arms straight at the elbow. So the hands will slide in and out if you're using a strap, and with the band, you will stretch the band. If you're using a strap and it's too much hassle to go up and over, you can just come from the bottom to the top and not go around the back. Yogi's choice. As you move your arms up and over, if you do go to the back, make sure your head is in its little tucked position and that you're not collapsing in the front, but that you're opening the heart. Yeah, I see beautiful evidence of that on the screen. Really, really lovely. Finish the round you're on and then take one more round. And for those of you working with a strap, the tighter you grip the strap, the more you're also adding strength here. The more you have to, stretch that band to bring it up and over, the more you are building capacity. All right. Beautiful. We're going to keep the strap or the band, but now we're going to clasp it behind. So you're going to have your hands behind you. The strap will be on your palms essentially, and you can hold it. Don't wrap it around your hands. Like sometimes you see people holding therabands like this, right, where they have it wrapped around the hand. It feels more secure, but if you think about lymphatic flow, it really restricts lymphatic flow. So it's better to hold the strap in your hand. Do you see the difference? Yeah. So you want to hold the strap behind your back like that, just with an open hand. And just let your arms sort of come behind you, and then do your chin tuck. Draw the head back and do that gentle sort of open shoulder roll to the back. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful, you guys. And so you have a very, I'm going to take my hand off the strap. You don't have to. You have a very open heart space here, and your hands are behind you. For some of you, it might feel more comfortable to clasp the hands, but for many of us, especially if we're tight here, when we don't have a band between the hands, if we use the hands, we collapse like this, and that's not the point, right? The point is to stay open. That's why we're using the strap or the band. And then from here, gently draw your bum down, or you could think of it as drawing your low ribs toward your hips, drawing the belly button toward the spine, so that there's a lot of strength that's being built around the midsection of the body. Do you feel the difference? When you draw the belly button in, your pelvic floor reaches up. So now you have an open heart and a very strong core, and now you can pull either on the strap or on the band or on your hands if they're clasped, and maybe, just maybe, if you're not losing that core engagement, you could bring the arms up behind you a tiny bit. If when you bring the arms up this happens, then don't bring the arms up, right? Or if you collapse down like this, you want to really keep that core engagement, the open heart, and then move up from here. And now you'll really feel the opening in the physical heart space. And if you can tune in to your breath here as well and let it flow as freely as possible through all that engagement, you'll also feel an opening in your mental or emotional or psychological heart space. And so have compassion here. Be patient. Find your expression of this seemingly simple movement, but oh wow, it has a lot of power. If you find yourself holding the breath, release the arms down toward the body. Never sacrifice your inner life, your breath, your emotions for an outer shape. And then wait patiently for your next exhalation to release the arms down behind you. You can keep holding the strap, but just release and let be everything. You can even have a little bit of a slouch if you want. And then you can take the strap away and wiggle and shake it out a little bit. If you're standing, you can have a lot of fun. If you're seated, you can also have fun, maybe just more movement in the upper body and less in the lower. So just see what works for you here as you kind of relax and release a little bit. And then when you feel ready, begin to make some circles in your hips. Coming to one side and then the other side, and you may see that I placed my hands on my hips. You could even place them on the low back. And why did we do that? It sends into your heart space. And you'll feel that movement of the hands toward the back body opened your front body, even here in these Sufi circles. And you can feel free to switch sides intuitively. If you would like to make some figure eights instead of circles, you could do that. might make it more interesting. And then whenever you feel ready to do so, you can bring your arms into cactus. This might feel a whole lot more comfortable than it did earlier during class. And just make some very gentle rotational movements side to side, just to bring a little rotation into the spine deliberately here. And notice how this shifts your experience of your heart space. So you could move really slowly. You could even hold in the rotation and just notice what are you feeling here in the heart space? What are you feeling in the back body? What are you noticing in terms of your core when you are holding a rotated shape? And then always come forward with the inhale and back with the exhale. And you can either move freely in and out, or you can hold and explore, yogi's choice. The idea is that the cactus arms and the scapulae together on the back, which we cultivated through the block work, are accompanying you here too, so that you can make these rotational movements that are part of the 6 movements of the spine with a wide open heart. One more time to each side for everyone, either shorter or longer, your choice. And when you are done, you can come to the front and release the arms. Maybe even bring the hands to the heart to sense inward, to notice any shifts in your physical experience, in your breath, in your mind, the stories of the mind. You might even feel your heartbeat under your hands. And when you feel ready, you can release your hands to your side. And if you have a chair, this is a great time to use the chair. We'll use the seat of the chair. You could also use a wall, or you could use a countertop, or you could use your own legs, or you could use the floor. We're just going to bring to bear some of this heart opening that we developed, and you don't actually have to be forward yet. I'll stand up. So we'll inhale and we'll lift the arms up, just like we did at the beginning. Exhale, fingertips come into the hip creases, and you're going to fold halfway forward. Here, you want to draw the low ribs toward the hips. You want to keep a natural spine. You could even bring your hands to the low back to really feel that you're not rounding, right? But that you are in your natural spine. And then roll the shoulders back. You could do that like this and then replant the hands. Or maybe your arms reach behind you. And you will feel that you are opening yet again the heart space, strengthening the back body, and continue to draw the navel toward the spine. Maybe draw your pelvic floor up very deliberately and breathe gently. Whenever you've had enough of holding the arms up, you can always release them or make shoulder circles. But for a moment, we're just going to hold here. Finish the round of breath you're on. With your next inhalation, bring the arms forward and then let them land on the chair. And take maybe a step or two back and fold a little bit more. You can bend your knees a lot here. We're not really working on the hamstrings. We are still opening the heart space. And so the knees could be bent a lot. In fact, you could even kneel in front of your chair. You could be on the floor and do this as a down dog. Or you could be at the wall and do it as a half dog at the wall. So yogi's choice. The idea is to wherever you are, continue to feel, even with your arms up and overhead now, that openness in the heart space and the engagement in your core and in your pelvic floor. So there's a softness in the heart space, and it is grounded in a profound inner strength. And then whenever you feel ready, if you are working at the chair, take a step closer. If you're on the floor in a down dog, you could come to your knees. If you're at the wall, step a little closer to the wall. And then bring yourself to a standing position. I'll cue it from the chair position. If you're in a different position, you'll have to find your own creative way to come to standing. Bring one hand to the low back, then the other hand to the low back. Find your half lift again. And with the hands on your low back and with an inhalation, strong legs, press the feet into the ground as if you were pressing the earth away from you. And from that action, rise up and come to standing. Release the arms by your side and just tune into your heart space. Yet again, feel whether anything has shifted in your experience of your body, your breath, your mind. Is your heart more open, figuratively and literally? And if it isn't, that's okay too. You're working toward it. Not everything happens on the first try. If you would like, you could take a few little shoulder circles. If you would like to just stand and ponder, you can do that. We're beginning our transition, of course, to our closing meditation. So wherever you are, however you would like to end sort of the more active portion of the class, you can do that now. And then transition yourself to wherever you would like to be for your closing meditation. You could choose a seat. You could choose a lying down position. You could even rest on a bed or in a comfy chair. Wherever you end up, I invite you to use your heart wisdom to give yourself props and supports that allow you to find ease here. If you're on a chair, maybe let yourself sink into the support of the chair. If you're on the earth, maybe have a support under the knees to release any tension from the lower back. If your room is cool, maybe find a blanket. And then tune into your physical being yet again, receiving the sensations that are present here now with the same compassionate, patient, open heart that you've been cultivating. Gently invite your body to release any unnecessary holding or gripping. As you invite it to surrender to the power of gravity. And then take a moment to consciously receive your breath. Your inhales, your exhales, your energy, your vitality, receiving any vibration or pulsation of life within you. Receiving compassionately with an open heart. And then invite your breath to breathe itself, surrendering the flow of energy, of vitality, to the flow of life force that binds us and connects us all. And take a moment to receive what's present in your heart, in your mind, in your thoughts, your feelings. Compassionately, patiently receiving whatever is there, not chasing after everything, not turning anything away, simply being with. And then invite your mind, invite those thoughts, those feelings to entrust themselves, to surrender to your deeper inner wisdom that will return you to what needs to be come back to later. And from this place of having released body, breath, and mind, I invite you into about a minute or so of silence to allow you to integrate the practice until my voice brings you back. Very, very gently begin to reawaken your senses to your inner and outer world, receiving the sounds around you, noticing the air on your skin, tuning into the sensations in your body, receiving your breath, your inhalations and exhalations. If you're lying on the earth and you would prefer to close the practice there, you can stay where you are. If you would like to close the practice in a seat, this is a great time to transition yourself to that shape. If it feels auspicious for you, I invite you to bring your hands yet again to your heart space. Perhaps sensing into that heart space with a newfound compassion, a newfound patience, a deeply experienced appreciation. Notice if there is a takeaway that emerges for you from your time on the mat this morning. Something of meaning or something helpful or even just curious or interesting that you would like to settle into the tissues of your body, that you would like to invite into your vitality and into your heart. such a takeaway emerge for you? Does it blend in some way with the intention that you had brought to the mat this morning? And does that blending perhaps lend itself